Shaar Gimel Perek Yud Gimel. Actually finishing Perek Yud Gimel and moving to Perek Yud Daled, but what I'd like to do okay, what we've learned so far is that there is a creation. I don't want to tie it all together today. There is a creation in this world, or part of the creation of this world is Ra. Pasuk says, or the Tefillah says, Yotzer Or, Uvarei Choshech, Oiseh Shalom. Real Pasuk is, Ubarei Ra. Now we say in davening, Yotzer Or, Uvarei Choshech, Oiseh Shalom, Uvarei Hakol. So the Gemara asks, why do we change? What's wrong with the pasuk? We don't change pasukim. Why did the Anshe Knesset Agdola change the pasuk? So why didn't they just say Borei Ra like it says? So the Gemara answers, Lishna Mal Yehu. Lo Yafeh, say Ra every morning in davening. Lishna Mal Yehu. It's a nicer lashon to say Yotzer Or, Uvarei Choshech, Oiseh Shalom, Uvarei Hakol. So says the Gemara. I want to go back to this Gemara in 1 second, but what's clear, at least from the pasuk, is that there is a bria of Ra. So somehow or another, I'm not sure if we understand it or will ever understand it, but somehow or another, when Hashem creates the world, there is a toiv, an energy of toiv, and there's an energy of Ra, and manifests itself in so many different ways, maybe Or, maybe Choshech. But one of the ways that it manifests itself, which is probably most nogea to all of us, is there's a Yetzer Hara and a Yetzer Hatov. Like that's where we see it clearly. I don't have to explain to you what the Yetzer Hara is. Maybe I do. I understand that clearly. What the Yetzer Hara is, it's very difficult to. It's such a koach. It's a very strong koach, stronger koach than the Yetzer Hatov actually. But it's a good. It's not a example. It's like if you imagine a ending with Yetzer Hara and Yetzer Hatov. So people do all kinds of things for crazy reasons. It doesn't make any sense. People say after they murder somebody, I don't know why I did it, But there's a koach of Yetzer Hara. Why does there have to be such a thing? So again, I say I don't understand. I don't know if we'll ever understand it. But one thing seems to me that we can understand is that if there wouldn't be a Yetzer Hatov and there wouldn't be a Yetzer Hara, there wouldn't be any Bechira Chavshus. What choices would we have to make? In other words, and to get back to the fundamental principle of the Rambam, if there's no free choice, so then what does that mean? In other words, you can go two ways. You can say Hashem knows everything. So if Hashem knows everything, then there's no free choice. So what am I doing? It doesn't make any sense that there should ever be such a thing as a mitzvah or an aveira. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. But and if you say that Hashem knows everything, if you say Hashem knows everything, then I don't have free choice. If you say I do have free choice, that means Hashem doesn't know everything. So then there's no Hashem. So either there's no person or there's no Hashem. It doesn't work. That's the Rambam's question, which the Ravid says on him. He shouldn't have asked that question because he really didn't know how to answer. That's what the Ravid says. But what's clear is that if not for Yetzer Hara, everyone can come a little closer if you want. If not for the fact that there was Yetzer Hara, a bria of Ra, then there taka would not be any choice. We wouldn't be able to choose good. It would just be, everything would be good. So let's assume for a moment to make it easier. Just be careful of the camera. I'm sorry. You can sit here. Just what becomes clear is that I don't know if Malachim have a Yetzer Hara. They don't. We don't know that they do. They don't have any free choice. So you have to have. They don't have free choice. Just do what you're told. They're like machines, robots.
They see things so clearly. They
Okay. No, I don't think that's what he says. I think that Malachim have no choice because they were not created with choice, not because they see things clearly. Then it's not a brain. I don't believe that he would say that. Malachim are lamala from free choice, but So the question is, just before we say anything else, Yotzer or Uvari Choshech Osa Shalom Vari Ra. We can understand a little bit why there has to be a bria of Ra. So Chazal changed it. Chazal, meaning the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah and our Tefillah, changed it to Yotzer or Uvari Choshech Osa Shalom Vari Sakol. Lishna Mal Yehu. It's a Shenner Azay. It's like a nicer lashon. So I think Anias Daiti. It doesn't necessarily mean a nicer law. It's not mistaberly that Anshe Knesset Hagdolah changed psukim around because they thought they had a better way of saying it, a nicer way of saying it made us more comfortable in the morning. Like it. I don't think that's what it means. Lashon Malya means it's a higher lashon. It's a higher lashon. What Malya, Aliyah, Oleh, and Pirush HaDvarim. I'm almost positive that this is true, even though it's a bit of a chiddush, that as the Nefesh Hachaim taught us in Yud Beis and Yud Gimel, there's two ways. You can battle Ra itself, Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Hatov. You can battle the whole thing, or you can go above in all kinds of things. You can get into Kishuv and battle Kishuv, and Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Hatov. That's the easy one to understand. But there's all kinds of dark places that you can battle, or you can say, I'm not getting involved, and Einoin Movadoi. I just go above the whole thing. And above the whole thing, Tachlos Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. He's one. There is no evil. There is no good. There is no bad. So there's another option. There's like two ways. There's two options, right? Shtei opsiot. Two options for being good. One is to beat the bad up, and one is to get above the whole thing, transcend the whole thing. I'll give you just like a mashal that comes to my mind is that the Svarim say, and even the Mishnah Berurah brings in Hilchos Tefillah, that if you're davening Shemona Esrei, it's a mashal. I don't know if it's the same thing, but it's a mashal. If a person's davening Shemona Esrei and you get this this bad thought in your head, which is disturbing your kavanah, and the Svarim have already pointed out that that the thoughts that we get in Shemona Esrei, the negative thoughts that we get in Shemona Esrei, we're not zocheh to those thoughts at any other time during the day. A special schus of Shemona Esrei that we think about things that like, where did that come from? So I would imagine, psychologically speaking, like we're getting in touch with ourselves and all kinds of things come out. That's what I would imagine. But there you can, therefore you're seeing a koach hatov and you're seeing a koach hara. Yeah, possible. I mean, we've all had this experience. Middle Shemona Esrei. I mean, like think later about how you're going to rob, somebody or babish shvichas dam gilei rais and avodah zarah. The only place that comes to your head is in Shemona Esrei, but it makes sense to me because where would a person think about avodah zarah unless you're in the middle of avodah? Where else would it come up? What are you supposed to do when you have a machshava zara in Shemona Esrei? So there's two ways. You can fight it. Like, get the heck out of here. Or, fight it and be mal. It's the same thing. Or, says the Mishnah Berurah, just stop davening. Stop davening. Think about the Shem Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei. Think about Einoid Milvado and let it go away itself. Because if you're going to, Mishnah Berurah's ways, this is the Chavetz Chaim Meirach on this. If you're going to fight, so you battle's a stronger fight than you. I don't know, like, my father always taught me if you pull out a gun, you got to be ready to use it. The best thing to do when you're being mugged is to run away. The nakuda being that if you want to fight, they know how to fight better than you do. If you want to take out a gun, they know how to use the gun better than you do. If you want to take out a knife, they're better with the knives than you are. Just if you're mugged, run away. So there's now what's cooler? Cooler is to go get karate lessons and to know what you're doing and nobody mess with me and big bad mush. Here I am. I'm just nobody starts up. But there's two ways. I'm not like we're not here to extol one way over the other way. But there's two ways to deal with Ra. Yeshayahu was saying Yotzer Aru Varechoshech Choseh Shalom Boirei Ra. He was dealing with possibly the best way, the ultimate, the best way is to win over the Ra. Like let your Koach HaOr go drown out your Koach HaRa. But there's another way, which is Yotzer Arvar Choshech Chos Shalom Varis Hakol Einoid Movadoi. Hakol. Hakol. There is no koach. There really is no koach other than the koach of Hashem. Einoid Movadoi. That's my pirush in the shinui of the Anshe Knesses Hagdoila to the pasuk. Yotzer Arvar Choshech Chos Shalom Varis Hakol. Now, Nefesh Hachaim begins to explain the difference between the Avos and Moshe Rabbeinu, specifically two areas. One area is the level of, what's the nifal? Miracleness? No, I know miraculousness. Is that a word? It is now. Meaning the amount that they experience miracles in their life. So there might be a difference between Moshe Rabbeinu and the Avos. Kriyas Yamsuf. I mean, it was a big miracle that Sarah became pregnant. But it's a different type of a miracle than bringing mun from Shemayim. It seems like a different kind of miracle. It's no small things, but there might be a difference. But what was clearly a difference was the Hisgalus HaNavuah. So Moshe Rabbeinu, like Hambi Yisrael Kamoshe Od, and I'll just say something very, a little bit apocarsis, nice forgiveness. But I just been thinking about, out of the share, but thinking about Moshe Rabbeinu a lot lately. He was just like an unbelievable person. I mean, that's the apocarsis. I mean, in other words, we like to think of him as, like not a person, but it's just like unbelievable that he came to this, like through his avoda. I think it's unbelievable. Through his avoda, he came to a place which was higher than Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov in terms of like constantly being able to connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I mean, there is nobody with, meditation or kedusha or any other way, any other. Ad kedei kach that the lashon of the Rambam is that he was gadol mikol anavim asher kadmu loy v'asher acharav. He was bigger not just than the ones that were after him, Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu, Daniel. He was bigger than Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. There's no such thing bigger than Adam Arishan. There was no such thing as a Navi that was bigger than Moshe Rabbeinu. What I'm saying is like unbelievable because this was his avodah, so of course, like that he came to such a clear and close connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's a wild thing. So the Nefesh Hachaim points out that that's our parsha, and we're into that sugya of Avram Avinu, where he was connecting. The whole Chumash is connecting Keneged the Ra. Whole thing. In other words, he argued with Terach, his father. He argued with the Kananim. He fought with Avimelech. The whole thing was what? Kings. It was all Avram Avinu's kemph against the Koach Hara. That's what Avram Avinu did. Interesting. Can you pass the Chumash for a second? Moshe Rabbeinu, says Nefesh Hachaim, was l'mala mizeh. He wasn't fighting with the Kochas Hara so much. We talked about it with Amalek. He was pointing them to a higher place. In Movadai, people needed food. Bring man from Shemayim. I'm not going to battle with the agriculture. I'm not going to battle with demons. I'm not going to battle with Yetzer Hara. Just be up there right now. That's where you should be. You should be holding. Einoid Milvadai. It was a different madrega, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu pointed this out when he said in Shemais, well, Eira, that Hashem appeared to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, B'Shel Shakai, which is the name of Bria. Ushmi Hashem Yudkei Vavkei Loi Doidatzi Lam. I never gave them this. So Nefesh Hachaim correctly, obviously, points out that it's not just like we have some information which is different about Moshe than different about Avram Avinu, but in fact they worked, the Mefurish and the Chumash, they worked with different shemos or with different closeness to Hashem. So Avram Avinu is working Bekel Shakai, And Moshe Rabbeinu is working b'shem Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei Nisi Lamala. We don't even understand Yud-Kei Vav-Kei because that's why we don't say it. Understand it. We could understand Shakai. We could say that when we're davening. We could say Adonai. But Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, that's just a thing. It's a concept which is not within our understanding. We don't daven with Yud-Kei Vav-Kei per se. So that's what that pasuk in Ve'er means. So when you go through Avram Avinu, you have to be talking about the Shem Shakai. Or Nefesh Hachaim said Mefurish that Elokim and Shakai are the same thing. Elokim Madrega of Yotzor Choshachos Shalom. Where is that call? Omanenoti, the Ra. You have a problem with Amalek? Let's get over it. Literally, let's get over it. If you call that higher, we don't know what's better. It's higher in the sense that there's no Bechira anymore. There's no Yetzer Hara. And I'm going to show you something. So Hashem Hu Elokim is where we got to get to. That we see Yud Kei Vav Kei even in the Teva. Ata Reisa Ladas, he brings this pasuk, Ki Hashem Hu Elokim. That the Yud Kei Vav Kei and Elokim are and we don't have to go that far. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu. Hashem Echad. Hashem Elokeinu. Yeah, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Which is Teva. Amen. Amen.
Didn't Moshe get dragged into people complaining?
And his always, of course he did, but his derech was always to go above it. That was his derech. He didn't fight with him. In other words, this we spoke about last time. Very, very important that when Miriam and Aaron were talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, so Hashem called them aside and scolded Miriam and Aaron. He says, you're looking at him like a regular Navi. A regular Navi is here. I don't know higher, lower. I know higher, lower. It depends if you're looking at it on a chart. If you're looking at a chart or if you're looking at it, what's a higher place? What I mean is that could be it's a bigger thing to fight the Ra.
It's a different function. It's with the Avos and Rakava. They have to have the upper
In Gashmias. So it's hard to say Moshe Rabbeinu was bigger, but he was a bigger Navi, that's for sure. He was a bigger Navi, so his Hiskalus was bigger. I just want to show, so that's Yud Kei Vav Kei. Something just noticed before and I noticed again yesterday. The Akedah, Vayihi Achar Advarim Eila Ve'Elokim Nisa Es Avram. Es Ha Elokim Nisa Es Avram. Vayomer Lav Avram Vayomer Hineni. Story of the Akedah. Vayikra Elav at the end of the whole story. Avram Avinu is about to make Yitzchak into a carbon. Vayishlach Avraham es Yadai vayikach es hamascheles lishchot es beno. Crucial moment. Could have gone either way. Vayikra Elav malach yudkei vavkei min hashamayim. Vayomer Avraham Avram vayomer hineni. So all of a sudden he had a call, not from Elokim, which was to begin with, from Yud Kei Vav Kei, but interesting, from a Malach Yud Kei Vav Kei. So, and from this point on, it's Yud Kei Vav Kei, but Ad Kedei Kach, Vayikra Avraham Shem HaMakom Ahu Yud Kei Vav Kei Yireh. Oops, it's gewaldig. Asher Yomer Hayoim Bahar Yud Kei Vav Kei Yeroeh. It means that after he passed he climbed up to a higher madrega where he was already in the madrega of Yud Kei Vav Kei, and I'll explain to you what it means. But it's a fascinating thing that it might be true that Moshe Rabbeinu the Akedah and could be then brought him to like the Madrega, and we don't even state. You got to really check carefully with Avram Avinu, but everything became Yud Kei Vav Kei, Malach Yud Kei Vav Kei, Har Yud Kei Vav Kei Yerah, Vayikra Malach Yud Kei Vav Kei El Avram, Shenis Min HaShamayim. V'yomer Bi Nishbati Num Yud Kei Vav Kei, Kiyana Asher Asisa Sadavar. So anybody who says there's no Yud Kei Vav Kei by Avram Avinu, I mean, is over and over and over again, but from the time he picked up his hand to Shech his son. Yeah, but I'm not going so deep. I'm saying something simple. I don't want to lose it. When he already picked up his hand, he passed all tests, and once he passed all tests, you don't need to have tests any longer. You don't need to have a Yetzer Hara anymore. So he was purified from Yetzer Hara. Right. It could be.
That's the highest level he got to was that now I'll tell you that you're Yira.
But what does it mean? What does it mean in okay? But what does it mean in Va'ero Shmi Yud Kei Vav Kei Loi Noidati Lahem?
Because he didn't get to see the actualization of what Hashem said He's going to promise them. That's why Rashi says Lo Hodati Lo Amarti, but No Dati. I think that's what Rashi's.
Ushmi Hashem.
Lo No Dati.
I know, but it means that
he didn't get to see.
Especially.
Shalom
Nikra Shmi Yud Kei Vav Kei. That's how Rashi's. I didn't. He didn't.
present myself as Yud Kei Vav Kei, but Avram was mechavim to it afterwards, after his nisyonos, and then he made the name like Yud Kei Vav Kei.
I think Rashi's saying something much more than that. Lo nikarti lahem b'midas ha'emes sheli.
Which is the fulfillment of my.
Yeah, but midas hamas sheli is what I'm showing. In other words, it was a ra ve'ena ra. It wasn't a ria of emes. It wasn't. In other words, when I see you, that's reality. Or at least it seems like this was a glimpse of Hashem, but it with Moshe Rabbeinu was full reality. Let's not mix up concepts here. I'm asking, please, don't try to think of everything you know. Think what we're saying over here. That Shmi Yud Kei Vav Kei Loi Noidatila. I'm not saying of art. This is a different thing. In other words, Loi Noidatila, what Rashi says is that it wasn't, emes means reality. It wasn't complete reality as it was to Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what Hashem was saying. This is the context of the pasuk. Hashem was saying to Moshe Rabbeinu that they never had this level of reality that you're asking for. This level of they had a glimpse of the Yud Kei Vav Kei. Like the whole thing should be, he said, if you're not going to do it this way, don't even take us out. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu said. If you're not going to do it, I need open, transparent glimpse. You're talking Aspaklari Mir, you're talking about in his Nevuah, Emes. But I'm just saying we're talking about now something much more basic. Hakaras Hashem. Hakaras Hashem. Yeah? So this is an interesting thing. So let me show you for a minute something fascinating. The Or Sameach, which is a Lamdish sefer on the Rambam, he has, this is a find that if we had time we'd go through the whole thing one day. But in Hilchos Tshuva, he has there are some, and usually the Meshech Chachma, the sefer Meshech Chachma is more inyanim. Here he on the Mishnah called Safei Varishus Nasuna, which is the words of Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva said that so Hakol Safei Hashem knows everything. Okay, Varishus Nasuna, he gives you permission to do whatever you want. So Rabbi Akiva is the one really who opened up this whole question, this conundrum of if it's a Kol Safui, how could it be a Rishus Nasuna? If it's a Rishus Nasuna, how could it be a Kol Safui? In fact, I'll just say the way he asks the question. The Rambam says that it's befitting that Rabbi Akiva said this. Umeir inyan sasum v'chasum v'inyan hayediyah v'abechira. What this Mishnah, what Rabbi Akiva is talking about, is the inyan of yediyah bechira v'hagzeira v'hacharitzas kehema shnei hafachim. There was a gzeira on him, yeah? So it's very interesting. Rabbi Akiva was 57 years old at the time of the Churban. The Shmuel HaKatan was in the time of Hillel. So it was around the time that Rabbi Akiva started learning Torah, around 17 years, a little bit earlier, around 17 years before the Churban. It was the end of Hillel, was Shmuel HaKatan. Shmuel HaKatan, the Gemara says, had a nevuah in an aliyah that, even though it wasn't such bad times at that time with the Romans and all that, but he prophesied that that Rabbi Akiva v'chaveirav, Rabbi Akiva was like, no, it was a beginner. It was a beginner. Rabbi Akiva v'chaveirav are going to be killed, are going to be martyred by the Romans. So at that time, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel and Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Akiva was like a newbie. I mean, he was new. He was 57 years old. He was probably about 40. And already Shmuel HaKatan had a nevuah on him. You're so great, you're going to be martyred by the Romans as the Gadol Ador. And he was, but look how many years later. Rabbi Akiva was killed at the end of the Hadrian decrees, which was when he was 120 years old. So you're talking about, right, 80 years later, right? So, and 40, 100. Who was 64?
64 years later?
No, from the time, no, he was 57 at the Churban. But he was 40, so it was 80 years. What? Yeah, approximately. Anyways, but when Rabbi Akiva was killed, he said, his words were, in other words, Rabbi Shmuel ben Gamliel went out Baderech to tell Rabbi Akiva, to find Rabbi Akiva and Chaveirav, who they were, Meir, to tell them that there was a nevuah that you're going to be killed. We don't know when, we don't know what, but that was the nevuah. Huh? Yeah. The Romans found there was no animosity at that time, open enmity between the Romans and Jews. Rabbi Akiva was 40. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, the first Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, and Rabbi Shmuel went out to find Rabbi Akiva v'chaveirav and to tell them that you're going to be killed. The Romans felt that was a morid b'malchus. What are you saying things like that about us? Because they didn't believe in the nevuah of Shmuel. We're not killing anybody. What are we killing? Right? I mean, you could just say straight out of the Arut Sheva. Killing? We're not killing anybody. Right? It was like the Nazis. We're not killing. We're killing. That's what they said. We're not killing anybody. We're not killing anybody. Open. So they killed, for being martyred by Malchus, they killed Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. And they were the first of the Asar Ruge Malchus. But Rabbi Akiva, his whole Talmud Chacham life, knew that he was going to be killed. Didn't know when, he doesn't know why. So when he died, he said, Kol Yamai Nitzdarti al Pasuk Zeh. Chol Avavcha v'chol Nafshecha v'chol. When am I going to get So his whole life was, I always find it fascinating to think about that. His whole life was like what was going on in his whole life. Every halacha that he said, every brisa that he said, all of his talmidim, and the talmidim that died under his rishus, and everything was all in the back of his mind or the front of his mind. That's what was in his mind. So it's a different picture of Rabbi Akiva, if you will.
Where's the Gemara that they went on?
Sanhedrin, Zayin, and Beis, I think. Sanhedrin, Zayin, and Beis, I believe. Where? I think so. So he says here, Rabbi Kiva was the right man to say, Hakol Tzafui v'Arishus Nesuna. So he says it as follows, because he was the one who suffered the Gzeirus and the Charitzos, and he saw that there's only, I guess what he means here is that he saw there's only so much you're going to battle with the Ra. I mean, the Ra is the Ra, the Romans are the Romans. Like, it's only so much, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a derech. There's only so much you're going to. But anyway, so he says as well, he touches up the question. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what's going to happen, there's going to be this destruction. So what are you going to do? Batla b'chira means, what are you going to do? Nothing. Those people don't have any b'chira. The Nazis don't have any b'chira. What do they have b'chira? Because if they have a way to choose out of it, they could choose the opposite of what Hashem already knows. So that Hashem doesn't really know. Or emes. That's total kfir. So you're stuck here. One of the things you have to know about Hashem is Yediyah. He knows what's going to happen. So Yediyah is the b'chira. So, fascinating what he says here, but we only have a couple of minutes left.
Question now for the start, because Baruch Hu is beyond, is outside of time, so then this whole question is
Kollel. So he says time. You don't hear the kash at all?
I'm saying if Hashem is out of time.
He doesn't know in advance because there's no advance, you're saying. There's no advance. Yeah, that was my turn. But there's still no bechira. At the end of the day, you still. So I want to say something. I don't just.
Didn't have to be. I mean, it seemed like he'd done whatever and would change that Zera. You believe
Who?
Can change Rabbi Kiva. Could have happened.
Okay. He says at the beginning here, I'm going right to the end, but he says at the beginning here, he says, Amashal, he says, what are you going to say that if you go to a soldier and say, the Sonogea, when was Yer Sameach? What year was Yer Sameach? Huh? Right before the war. Right, same time as the Rogachover and, the Chavetz Chaim. Dvinsk, he went to Dvinsk. So, anyways, he says that, can you imagine a soldier in an army, and Bipkudas HaMelech, he's killing people randomly. And then you put him on trial afterwards, and you say, why are you killing people randomly? So he says, well, I was commanded to do so it's not my fault. So we would say to him, you don't have choices of war crimes. The whole Eichmann trial, in other words, what the Rosh Hashanah says, unimaginable for what they're doing, saying, I don't have Bechira. Of course you have Bechira. That's what he says. That's what he says, same thing as Yidir Bechira. But here, I just hope he's quiet for 1 second because I want to share with you something. This is the main thing I want to bring out. He says at the end of this Parak Hay, he says, I want to mention something. Mi Avi Abba, from my grandfather. Who's the Kaini Harav Reb Chananya Kohen? He was Reb Meir Simcha HaKohen. Grandfather's Rabbi Chananya HaKohen. Shabir Bazeh HaKosev, and he is explaining the pasuk. The Zayda is explaining the pasuk. U'Moshe Haya Anav Mikol Me'oid Mikol Ha'adam Asher Al Pnei Ha'adama. Pasuk, by the way, that he was the humblest of all men, but that's not what it says. Which is like actually. And he says, we know the philosophers asked the question, if he was a human being, Did he honestly feel less than the people? Didn't he realize? Didn't he realize that he was greater than all the people around him? How could he be? Okay, maybe he felt certain people were greater than him, but that he's less than everybody. Less than everybody. He's less than Korach. What is he? How could he be less than everybody? How could he feel less than everybody? That's just like a lack of self-esteem or some kind of psychological problem. That's what the philosopher. Why would he feel like less than anybody? Let's say we're humble. We don't feel less than anybody. Maybe we're less than certain people, but why less than anybody? Unbelievable. So he says, in short, he says that's his question. But he says there's a lot of things to say about. There are many things to answer about this. He says what his grandfather wants to say, that there was something that brought him to a very, very deep degree of humility. What was that? And in this, he was higher than everybody who was created. Moshe Rabbeinu, listen to the irony. Because he was higher than anybody who was ever created, everything that was gashmius about him, Moshe Rabbeinu, that's why I said, what a man. Everything that was gashmius about him, he turned into ruchnius. To the point that he was higher than anything that was created, anybody that was created. And he was able to execute upon him. So he had no more Bechira. It wasn't possible for him. It wasn't possible for him to have Bechira, because how do you have Bechira? Because I have no such struggle. And if I have no such growing, I said, what's the right word? I'm less than them. I'm an unav mikol. I'm less than them. I'm humbled.
Humble and less than.
Okay, maybe my words are wrong. But what he is saying is that when I'm around these people, I'm in awe. Look at the struggle. Look, we've all had this feeling. Yes, we go someplace and people are really struggling with something that we're not.
People in 12-step.
Just looking at the 12-step program. There's almost people have gone through a battle. There's almost. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying I'm serious because I've been at many of their meetings. There's almost a gaiva there of the fact that we're the ones that are struggling. We're the ones that are overcoming the struggle. They're right. There's a certain level. So how can you compare yourself? You've never had this challenge. You've never had the struggle. You've never had to go through this. So okay, who's higher? Seder. So Moshe Rabbeinu, on the one hand, it was higher than everybody, and because he was higher than everybody, he felt lower than everybody. So. Just to read the words while it's quiet for a second. He had no Bechira. This is a chiddush. Moshe Rabbeinu had no Bechira. I'm thinking to say, Lulei de Mistafina, that Avram Avinu also didn't have any Bechira after the Akedah. Finished. But he died. He died shortly afterwards. Finished. Battle's over. No more Bechira. Vayuraya pulas kol mitzvah. He understood the pu'ula. Once you understand what every mitzvah does, he understood the pu'ula called mitzvah. Think about it. I know that when I'm putting on tefillin, what it's doing. We don't know what it's doing. Maybe we read something, but we don't really know what it's doing. Moshe Rabbeinu really saw, Shem's wearing tefillin, I'm wearing tefillin. Like, he understood what's happening. Now, does he have a choice not to put on tefillin? Do we have a choice not to breathe? Or even eat? Pulas kol mitzvah. L'chein niyeh shafel be'erchai mul hapachai shebi Yisrael. So he felt, and here's the words you can translate it. Erkai mul hapachai shebi Yisrael shehu b'chaisamai b'tumasai rather sarech lahamin b'haya b'chiri. This is so gewaldig. Moshe Rabbeinu could not have emunah anymore, because emunah means that I'm taking a leap of faith, and there was no leap to take. There's no place to jump. There's no place to say I'm doing it anyway. It's Rabbi Kiva, B'Soif Yomov. By the time they were killing him, there was no battle going on. Maybe the Talmud had a battle. Maybe there was no battle going on. It was just everything is oinel mavade. So I say like this: that he jumped up. He jumped up to Tmunas Hashem Yabit. So mitzad echad, you're not like every Navi. You have Giluyim that have no comparison. And mitzad sheni, that caused a nivus of he was out of the game, and that's why I said envy. I'm out of the game. I'm above the whole game. I know every mitzvah called pula upula. I'm not sure if I heard her, I think, but I might have heard this from Rav Moshe Shapiro. That's Al. I think I heard this, that he had to be out of the game to bring Matan Torah, because there can be, in my words, there can be no subjectivity when it comes to Matan Torah. Everybody, let's say, I learn a Gemara, you learn a Gemara, we all see it a little bit different. That's what Torah Shabbat Peh is. This Navi interprets it this way, that Navi interprets it that way. There has to be something which is not subject to any interpretation at all. There has to be, in other words, when the actual Torah is coming to this world, the mamashli, it has to be Echad Atzmusa Yisbarach. Has to be. And the only way to do that was a sacrifice of Moshe Rabbeinu. You can't be in this game, because you now have to be the bridge between heaven and earth, and you have to be able to bring down something which is so pure that let everybody argue afterwards, but what you brought down is pure, and it has no sunglasses, and no rose-colored glasses at all, has nothing to do with your personality, it has nothing to do with, so I think what Rav Moshe said, it was different than the Yer Samech, that you have to be the Anav Mikol Adam, completely mispashed any subjectivity that you have in order to be Makabel the Pnei Hashem. It comes to the same thing. It comes down to the same thing. But he had to be to Tmunas Yud Kei Vav Kei Yabit. And it was a sacrifice for him. Yeah, I hear. It's a good kasha. You have to ask a kasha. But it wasn't his Yetzer Hara had taken over. It was his misjudgment of the people. That's a different story. Anyways, I want to continue this a little bit and then go to Parak Yudal. Thank you. 1 minute.